Are we excited to be here? This is a celebration. Welcome to the 13th Annual Celebration Luncheon on behalf of Girls Inc. of Santa Barbara. My name is Andrew Firestone, and it is an honor to be here and to be in front of you and be part of Girls Inc. And I am so proud of the work that they do. As a father of a 3-year-old daughter, this means a lot more to me. I see the work that Girls Inc. does, and today we're actually going to see firsthand and hear firsthand the impact that Girls Inc. can have on the lives of young women here in Santa Barbara and the results. And I think the most fun thing about supporting an organization is being able to track what the impact is over time. And Girls Inc. is littered with amazing wins, with great stories and great outcomes from the work that goes on every single day by Girls Inc. And at my school, where my son goes at Mountain View, the Girls Inc. bus pulls up, and I just think how lucky those girls are to have that opportunity to go and become strong, smart, and bold. So we're here, again, like I mentioned, to celebrate the work that Girls Inc. does all year round. We're also here to celebrate some partners here in Santa Barbara, and a part of the Strong, Smart, and Bold Awards, the 3rd annual. Joe and Marjorie Bailey. Where are yes, you can clap for them. They deserve clapping. They've been longtime supporters. There they are right there, I'm sorry. Longtime supporters. We also have the 3 representatives from Hutton Foundation, and if you had to encapsulate Strong, Smart, and Bold, Pam and Sue and Robin sitting right over here, encapsulate that. So very well-deserved honor for them. And the 3rd recipients, the Dreiers, I have been trying to get adopted by them for many, many years. They do so much for this community, and it is a rightful, fitting award that they're getting represented and recognized for the work they do for Girls Inc. today. Ginni and Chad Dreier. Now, just to let you guys know how important this Girls Inc. here in Santa Barbara has become, just to let you know how important it is, we have the head honcho of all of Girls Inc. from the whole country here with us to speak with us. Judy Vredenberg is here at our chapter here in Santa Barbara. She knows that we're doing something right because we have over 400 people here today showing their dedication to Girls Inc. So I hope that we can show her our support for this chapter here in Santa Barbara. We're also going to have a chance to have Dr. Lois Phillips speak to us today. Well-known public speaker and communications trainer. But what I'm most excited about is to hear from Janie Arnold and her daughter, Kate Faust, who are real-life examples of the impact that Girls Inc. can have right here in our own community. This is one of those wins I was talking about. I imagine there's going to be a few dry eyes left in this room to hear about that success story. We're also here to celebrate. We're also here to support. Where are my raffle girls? They're with the red balloons here in the back. They are, well, over here in the back, they are going to be handing out, selling raffle tickets. Please support them. They're going to be bold. They're going to come and ask you to support them. Do not turn them down. They know the valet parkers. Your keys will get misplaced, and you will not be going home. So please support them. We have too many raffle items to even list off right now. There's so many of them. There's so many great items that have been donated. Please take a look and support them. We're also going to have a very short live auction. We have 2 great items to raffle off: a home up in Pebble Beach and an opportunity to be a weather girl right here in Santa Barbara. It's sunny and 75. There's more to it than that. But now it is my pleasure and my honor to introduce you and welcome to the stage the luncheon chair for this year, who has put together this amazing event that is breaking all the records in terms of attendance. Please help me welcome Stephanie Ball.
Welcome. to this great event. As Andrew said, we've broken all records. We have over 400 people here today. Thank you all. Mother Teresa said, to keep a lamp burning, you have to keep putting oil in it. Today our mission, Fuel Her Fire, and She Will Change the World, is a perfect example of Mother Teresa's vision. This year, as I said, we've broken all attendance records, thanks to you. We'd like to give a huge thank you to the Hutton Parker Foundation for their generosity, and we'd like to give special thanks to all of our donors, sponsorship, and in-kind generous donations. Please thank all of them. Most of all, it takes a devoted team to plan and carry out an event of this magnitude. To stage an event like this takes hundreds of hours of time and energy. I'd like to introduce you to the committee members who are on fire and ignited this event. Committee members, please stand and remain standing as I call your names. Janie Arnold, Shannon Kelly, Melanie Maxfield, Diane McQuarrie, Chris O'Leary Hayes, Carol Olson, and Kiz Richter. You are the oil that keeps the lamp burning. Thank you. We would also like to acknowledge all the board members, active and honorary members of Girls, Inc., and for their ongoing vision that makes this the great organization that it is. Will all the board members please stand? Thank you. We would also like to acknowledge Girls, Inc. of Greater Santa Barbara staff that have made this an incredible event. Monica, Shannon, Charles, Melissa, for their dedication every day that they work to make this organization what it is. On a very personal note, I would like to thank my law firm, Brownstein Hyatt Farber Schreck, because without them, I would not have the support to do this event. They have let me dedicate hours of my time. And also, every girl needs a mentor, no matter how old you are. And I would like to personally thank my two mentors, Steve Americana and Chris Jacobs. Please give them a round of applause. Don't forget to buy raffle tickets. And now I'd like to introduce Monica Spear, Girls, Inc. of Greater Santa Barbara, our wonderful executive director. Thank you, Monica.
Good afternoon, everyone. As most of you know, our Girls, Inc. mission is to inspire all girls to be strong, smart, and bold. A critical piece of achieving that mission is the advocacy work we do for and with girls, empowering them to use their voices to create change for themselves and others. We are honored to have many dignitaries join us today, demonstrating their support and interest in ensuring all girls have successful, safe, and fulfilling lives. I'd like to acknowledge for their public service and for attending today the Honorable Judge George Eskin, the Honorable Judge Jean Dodonna, past Goleta Mayor Margaret Connell, Santa Barbara Mayor Helene Schneider, past County Supervisor Susan Rose, County Supervisor Janet Wolf, Senator Hannah Beth Jackson, and Congresswoman Lois Phillips. The fact that this community is comprised of so many women in leadership roles is evidence of the support our girls have, and we are grateful. Thank you. And in acknowledging dignitaries, it is my honor to introduce to you Judy Vredenberg, President and CEO of Girls Inc. National. Judy has been in this role for 5 years, and in that time has led the organization to develop and implement a net-wide strategic plan for growth in the number of girls we will serve with impact, revenue to support that growth, and outcome measurements. Judy has brought to Girls Inc. her past experience as president and CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters of America and senior VP of Marketing and Development at the March of Dimes Foundation. In addition, she's brought with her 20 years of corporate experience from the retail industry. She is recognized for her visionary and strategic thinking, executive leadership, and commitment to advancing opportunities for girls and women. Her recent recognition and associations include the nonprofit Times Power and Influence Top 50, one of 100 Women Leaders in STEM by STEM Connector, and as a member of the New York Women's Forum. Judy has also served on President Obama's Office of Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships Advisory Council as a member of the University of Pennsylvania Board of Overseers, and on the board of directors of Independent Sector. As is apparent, even in this very brief introduction, Judy is indeed a strong, smart, and bold leader, and we are honored to have her join us today. Please help me welcome to the stage Judy Vredenberg.
Thank you for your investment in Girls and Girls Inc. Just a few Saturdays ago, we celebrated the UN Day of the Girl, which was built on the Girl Effect campaign that was launched in 2008, telling the world how important education is for girls and young women. Education focused on developing countries. It's called the Girl Effect, and we saw the data that made it clear that if you invest in a girl's education, she gives back to and builds herself, her family, her community, and breaks the cycle for the next generation. And we'll never forget waking up on a Friday morning to learn that Malala had won the Nobel Peace Prize for her courageous efforts. Yes. But these problems and these impacts are not relegated to other nations. Here in the US, 1 in 4 girls will not complete high school. 3 in 10 girls will become pregnant before the age of 20, the highest teen pregnancy rate of any developed country. 78% of girls are unhappy with their bodies before age 17. And most difficult of all, 1 in 5 girls will be a victim of childhood sexual abuse. But it doesn't have to be this way. At Girls Inc., we empower girls to succeed and overcome challenges. Girls build confidence and embrace positive decision-making to take charge of of growing up healthy and succeeding, achieving their goals, personal, academic, and career goals. Girls like Sari Sutton. Sari was a national scholarship recipient here from Santa Barbara. She and her mom moved with 3 brothers, 4 children, moved from a small town to Santa Barbara after the mom's marriage broke up. And her mom had to work full-time, was very busy helping the brothers, one of whom is disabled, and the other of whom had a serious drug substance abuse problem. And Sari had a really hard time in school, adjusting to the new environment, being bullied. But at Girls Inc., she found a safe, supportive space to explore her talents and just be a girl, and mentors who believed in her and encouraged her, and she set college goals. She then had the opportunity to volunteer and gained a sense of responsibility by being a mentor to younger girls within Girls Inc. She today is a graduate of Johnson & Wales University and a pastry chef at San Ysidro Ranch, right here. This is what we do at Girls Inc., and we call it the Girls Inc. Experience, which is a combination of people, trained staff, and volunteer mentors who build long-lasting relationships and peers who share drive and ambitions. And we create that in an all-girl, safe, physically and emotionally safe environment with a sisterhood of support, high expectations, and respect. Our research-based programming, whether it's our Operation Smart STEM education programming or financial and economic literacy programming, help girls develop the skills and knowledge they need to prepare for life. We also take a leadership role in advocating in Washington, D.C. for policy changes on behalf of all girls. And all of this work could never be possible without you, our supporters. I think it's fair to say that this is our time. As a society, we're finally having open conversations about violence against girls and women, rather than denying its existence. And commercial marketers have introduced very big pro-girl campaigns, including Procter & Gamble's Always Run Like with a Girl campaign. Have any of you seen that? Please do if you have. Some of you have. It has gotten 48 million views on YouTube. In fact, Under Armour recently approached Girls Inc. because we represent what they want in their campaign to become. It's called I Will What I Want. So the timing is right. Companies are understanding the public's yearning to smash those stereotypes, those limitations for girls, and send different messages. Run Like a Girl is a positive, not a negative put down. At Girls Inc., we have partnerships with Google, with Nordstrom. Nordstrom selected us as the charity, national charity beneficiary of their Treasure and Bond brand. But most significantly, we have a fabulous partnership with Starbucks and Oprah Chai Tea. Have you heard about that? Oprah Chai Tea, and that only happened because Santa Barbara introduced Girls Inc. to Oprah Winfrey. Thank you, Santa Barbara. Yay, yay. We've already received 2 significant checks from that partnership. Companies, but most especially individuals like all of you in the room, are coming to Girls Inc. to join a movement to break down barriers and open doors for girls. And that's why you're here today. Thank you. When we all pull together and change what it means to grow up for more girls so that they may positively impact themselves, their families, their communities, and the next generation. Thank you for being a Girls Inc. champion for girls. On behalf of the girls who benefit every day and the others we aim to serve, thank you for being in their corners, in our corner. I close by asking you to remember a girl in your life. Could be your daughter, a friend, a niece, even a granddaughter, like I did with my granddaughter last Monday night. Tell her how she is strong, smart, and bold. Thank you. Now I'd like you to take a moment and watch our mission video.
I'm at risk of thinking there's just no point in trying. I'm at risk of looking in the mirror and hating what I see.
I'm at risk of regretting what I do, just to join the crowd.
I'm at risk of being told not to tell. And you would never know it by looking at me.
But with Girls Inc. in my corner,
There for me, every day. Believing in me.
Showing me what's possible.
I can be strong enough to respect myself and my body.
to say I can rather than I can't,
To say no with no apology.
To be a leader.
to finish school,
To own my future.
To break the cycle.
Girls Inc. believes every girl can succeed. That's why the trained professionals of Girls Inc. are there for our girls every day, supporting, mentoring, and guiding them in a safe, girls-only environment. Building bonds that last for years and change that lasts a lifetime. Girls Inc. gives girls the tools they need to boldly face challenges, to resist peer pressure, to be the first in their families to go to college, to beat the odds. With Girls Inc. in her corner, every girl can be healthy, confident, and resilient. She'll do more than dream about her potential. She'll reach it.
With you in my corner.
With you in my corner, I will not be another statistic.
I will fight for myself.
For my future.
With you in my corner, I will win.
Fuel her fire and she will change the world. Girls Inc. Inspiring all girls to be strong, smart, and bold.
I made a mistake. I missed something earlier, so I need to make up for it now. I thanked a lot of people in here, but I failed to thank everybody that is here today. All 400 of you that have arrived here for this lunch today, or support Girls Inc. 364 other days during the course of the year, are showing that you are in their corner and you're not satisfied to sit back and make sure that those statistics stay as they are. That we're going to improve those statistics and make sure that Girls Inc. has the resources they need to make an impact on girls, not just here in Santa Barbara, but all over the country. So I apologize, but thank you very much. So I'm going to let you enjoy your lunch right now, but you are going to be interrupted over and over and over by these young girls here that are going to be selling you raffle tickets. They have instructions. They don't understand the word no. You say no, they think it means more. So please, ladies, get after them. Sell them raffle tickets. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll be back in just a minute with our Strong, Smart, and Bold Awards.
Now is the time that has come in the day where we have the great privilege of honoring those who have made a tremendous impact in the lives of girls of our community. As some of you may know, Girls Incorporated of Greater Santa Barbara has recently had the great opportunity to present to people in our community our Strong, Smart, and Bold Awards. And these are presented annually to individuals or organizations that embody the mission, the vision, and the values of Girls Incorporated. Honorees demonstrate an ongoing commitment to inspire all girls to be strong, smart, and bold through their leadership, service, and support, and have a significant impact on the lives of the girls of our community as a whole. Congratulations to our 2014 Strong, Smart, and Bold honorees. And just before I invite Christy Solzbach, our board president, up to introduce them, I didn't want to let this chance go by without acknowledging our past recipients, many of whom are joining us today. And as I say your name, if you'd please stand to be acknowledged. These honorees are Perry Harcourt, Nancy Failing, Lorraine and Stephanie Wilson, Deckers employee volunteers, Jim and Sheila Zimmerman, National Charity League of Santa Barbara, and the Valentine Foundation. Thank you all. And without further ado, it's my pleasure to welcome to the stage Christy Solzback, Girls Incorporated of Greater Santa Barbara Board President.
Good afternoon. Our first honoree, the Hutton Parker Foundation, is represented here today by Susan Parker, Robin Parker, and Pam Lewis. The Parker Foundation has a mission to make a difference through funding programs that support nonprofit sustainability and longevity. The Hutton Parker Foundation has made a direct and significant impact on Girls Inc. of Greater Santa Barbara. Their long and ongoing support of our organizational needs, including scholarships, capital, marketing, strategic development, and growth, have all contributed to the success of Girls Inc. of Greater Santa Barbara and have allowed us to serve with impact more than 1,200 girls annually. It is an honor to present this award to the Hutton Parker Foundation. Ladies.
Thank you, Christy and Girls Inc. Girls Inc. for honoring Hutton Parker Foundation. I would also like to thank my aunt, Betty Hutton, who started Hutton Foundation in 1980. She was one of the most strong, smart, and bold women I've ever had in my life. And finally, I would love to thank Arlene Craig, Pam Lewis, and Robin Parker for being the supporting forces behind the Hutton Parker Foundation and Tom and myself.
Thanks, Pam. Girls Club, now Girls Inc., began with a vision from dedicated individuals who laid the foundation to ensure all girls have the opportunities they need and deserve to live happy, productive, and fulfilled lives. For Girls Inc. of Greater Santa Barbara, two of those visionaries include Marjorie and Joe Bailey. Their independent and collective dedication for nearly 60 years has resulted in the official founding of our organization, building the first Girls Club Center on East Ortega Street, and our second center on Hollister Avenue. Joe and Marjorie continue to support the vision and the mission of Girls Inc. I will say as a little note, thanks to Joe Bailey, Girls Inc. of Greater Santa Barbara downtown was able to serve Thanksgiving dinner last year. Without him, it would never have happened. So on behalf of the thousands of girls who have and are and will be inspired through their lifelong commitment, it's an honor to present this award to Marjorie and Joe Bailey.
I'm scared to death. I've never been in a room with so many women. It's a real privilege for Marjorie and I to receive this award. My wife got involved with the Junior Women's Club way back when. I'm not going to tell you how far back. And I was lucky enough to be involved and understand a little bit about Girls Inc. Later on, our firm was fortunate enough to be picked to do the Hollister construction for the new building. That building wouldn't have been completed without two women that raised the funds and that's Mary Beth Howe. Mary, would you stand up? And Sheila Zimmerman. I don't know if Sheila's here. Otherwise, I just want to say thank you for everybody supporting Girls Inc. It's one of the best organizations I've ever been involved in. Thank you.
And now I'd like to introduce Stina Hahn, who is Vice President of the Board of Girls Inc. of Greater Santa Barbara. Stina.
Thank you, Christy. Hello, everybody. Wow, it looks different up here. So I have the honor and privilege of introducing a couple that many of you know very, very well and love as I do. So I'll be brief. But when I was asked to introduce Chad and Ginni, I had to say yes with all my heart because they do so much for this community. So there are probably a couple of things you don't know about Chad and Ginni. Did you know that in 1992, when Chad took over as the CEO of Ryland Homes, he went in actually to turn around a troubled company? And that in 2005, he had turned it around to the tune of 17,000 homes being built that year with revenues of $4.8 billion, that's with a B, dollars. Ginni, meanwhile, was involved with Baltimore Reads and National Museum of Women in the Arts. Another personal note, did you know that Chad and Ginni met when she was a junior at Marymount and he was an ROTC lieutenant at Loyola? Now, I'm not saying there's a coincidence, but Loyola Marymount is now combined today. Okay, and Chad was the chairman of the board of that organization for 13 years, is now chair emeritus, and for those of you who know who LMU, and we actually have a graduate from LMU, it enjoys a sterling reputation. Philanthropically, Chad and Ginni started with nothing, but with their time and talent have done so much. Most of you know about their involvement with the Bowl. Many of you know about their involvement with the zoo. I asked Chad earlier how many animals at the zoo were named after them. The number exceeds 20. Now, only half of them are actually in Santa Barbara. They're populating other parts of the country. They've also been very philanthropic with Cottage Hospital. Ginni was one of the founding members of the Women's Fund a little over 10 years ago. They are both very active in support of the Police Activities League and, of course, our own Santa Barbara Girls Inc. So I will close by mentioning just two small things, or maybe not so small. And you could all follow Chad's example. So for Chad's 60th birthday, he said he didn't want any birthday presents. He wanted his friends to donate to PAL and to Girls Inc. So keep that in mind when you have a birthday. Then a couple of years later, Ginni stepped up as the co-chair of the Girls Inc. Scholarship Lunch, which raises about 50% of all the scholarship money that Girls Inc. can give annually. And then Chad said, okay, well, you can do the event on property. So Chad stepped up, and we thank you for that. This community is so very fortunate to have Chad and Ginni Dreier for all they do. Would you please come to the podium, Chad and Ginni?
Wow, it is different up here, all those eyeballs. You know, I wasn't going to be too nervous because Girls Inc. is such a passion of ours, but to get up here and see so many people here that make such a difference and are here to honor the honorees who I just feel like I'm breathing rare air up here. But I want to thank Stina for that amazing introduction. Who knew when Chad and I met at a dance so many years ago that we would be up here, what's it, 46 years now? It's hard to believe. You know, I have so many thank yous that I would like to offer, but I don't have that much time. But I would like to say thank you all for being here, for making what we can do and what so many others do really matter to the girls, to the community. I want to thank Chad for believing in my commitment to Girls Inc. And for making their goals and commitment to making girls strong, smart, and bold become a reality. So thank you, honey.
Thank you. We are honored to be here. I love the far right picture was my all-time favorite picture. I was all of 20 and she was 19. And we're honored to be here. When Stina talked to me about this, I really misheard one word, and I thought she said she wanted a 30-minute speech. So I actually brought this speech. I worked on it for about 3 weeks, and then I ran into Lois Phillips here earlier, and she said she was the speaker. And so apparently, sorry about that, Lois. You're out. I've got this great... But apparently she told me 30 seconds. And as my wife has told you after 46, I still don't listen very well. But we are really honored. This is a fantastic organization with fantastic people. And it is always really a treat to see everybody and to see the young women grow and mature and be smart and bold. So Ginni and I are just honored to be a part of this. Thank you so much for having us here.
The first thing I learned in preparing my comments to introduce Kate and her mother, Janie, are that my next investment is going to be a laser printer because the ink on my inkjet smears every time I cry when I try to read the proof. So I hope that you will please bear with me since I now have a smeared page of comments to share with you. I so appreciate the opportunity to be with all of you today to acknowledge and celebrate the history and future of Girls Inc. of Greater Santa Barbara and the individuals who have been and are such an important special part of both. And one of the most meaningful parts of my position with Girls Inc. is in the impact that Girls Inc. has in the life of every girl and family that is served. We may not always identify on any given day the full degree of that impact, but it is apparent every time I have the opportunity to connect with our girls and families, past, present, and future. One such girl and family are the two women you will meet momentarily, Janie Arnold and Kate Faust. While this mother-daughter duo have much to be proud of in themselves and each other, some of which you can read of in your program, and some of which you'll hear from them personally, what I want to share with you is the experience I remember of each of them when I was just a very new staff member at Girls Inc. some 20 years ago. I remember Kate, a young girl inherently strong, smart, and bold, who with her sisters exhibited intelligence and energy, and who I saw already at her young age stepping into a role of leadership, both with her peers, the staff, her mom, and anyone else she thought needed direction or leading. I watched through the years as she grew up at Girls Inc., developing her talents and potential to becoming one of the most strong, smart, and bold young women I've ever met. And in regards to Janie, Kate's mom, I probably only need to say Kate is her mother's daughter. Janie was a single mom for many of the years her girls were at Girls Inc. Always put her family first and worked hard to ensure they had role models and experiences that empowered them to understand their worth and prepare them for successful and fulfilling futures. As Janie has become involved again recently as a volunteer, we have had plenty of reminiscing sessions, and I am reminded again and again the importance of Girls Inc. in the lives of every girl and family we touch, and the results of them having the opportunity to be involved. So I'd like to welcome to the stage Janie Arnold and Kate Faust.
So you already heard, I get to be up here because I am just so honored and privileged to get to be the mother of 3 Girls Inc. girls. They are all amazing girls in my life, and I get to introduce one of them in a short time. Those of you who have talked with me, you know I am so in love with my children, and I am completely a sap about them, so expect nothing different as this talk goes on. I said, I mean, literally 100 times that if it takes a village to raise a child, Girls Inc. was my village. I could not have gotten through all of the things that one goes through raising children as a single mom without them. They just gave them so much. My daughter Jessica attended Girls Inc. from 1981. It says here 88, but I think that must be wrong. But she was chosen to run. She was about, well, however old she was. She was chosen to run one of the legs of the Olympic torch when it came through Santa Barbara, because they said, you know, if you're interested in do this, just write why you should get to carry it. And she would, Girls Inc. said, write this if you want. She did it. She won it. She went to run through the torch through Santa Barbara. She competed in gymnastics across the state, and she, I said here, she was nurtured and trained to become strong and tenacious and focused. And I also like to say, she also made the elephant butt plaque that's on the front part of the building down at Girls Inc. in Santa Barbara. And I love every time I go there and I see that and know that my family is forever a part and represented at Girls Inc. My daughter Kate started in 1993 and went to about 2002. She did gymnastics. She went to science camp out at the university. She was the lead in many a Girls Inc. play. And she was a spokesperson at several of the events that they did, and she got to introduce Barbara Bush at one of the 100 Luncheon Committee gigs. And she also, she'll tell you more of the stuff she did. She just was amazing at that place. But the staff really saw in her biggest strengths that you'll hear later weren't crazy about that in a little girl, having those strong traits. And they saw it and they fostered it and they promoted it and they said yes. Yes, and she is, as my other children call her, wicked smart. Strong and very bold, and she stands for what she believes in, no matter what you believe in. And then my youngest daughter, Sarah, went from 95 to 93, and she loved everything. She loved everything about Girls Inc. It was like Disneyland or something to her. She just loved everything. She too did gymnastics, and when she was 10 years old, again, 2 of the women, the staff, said, we want to do this trek. We want to take the girls out, backpacking, getting into it. So they said, if you want to go, write why you should get to go. And I picked her up at Girls Inc. that night, and she said, I get to go. And I'm going, you get to go where? What do you mean you get to go? She said, I'm writing this thing. They're going to choose it. I'm going. And she went home that night, and she wrote something. I don't know. I've never read it. She's 25 now. But when I picked her up, like 2 weeks later, she said, I get to go. And they went. There were 4 or 5, I don't remember, 4 or 5 10-year-old girls traveled for 7 days through 3 states with a 25-pound back, camping, whitewater rafting, going through the slot canyons in Utah. Also, an incredibly smart, strong, tenacious girl with intention. So I'm really proud, really over the moon proud of these girls. And they bring me such amazing joy every day. They also got to be these women. They got to be these women that they are because they got to go to Girls Inc. I couldn't have done this. I couldn't have given them the opportunities to be involved at the levels they got to be involved and to learn about who they are at the depth that they got to know. Every day they came home being stronger and braver and bolder. And I couldn't have done that without the scholarships that Girls Inc. provided me with for my girls to be there. And so in that, I want to thank you all for being here. My girls have, you know, they're off. They're living big lives. And, you know, probably you were at luncheons before and donated money. And you're partially responsible for these amazing girls that are in this world. And they would not have been able to see and be and know all that they are if it weren't for you and your predecessors. And so I want to just really thank you. Deeply. Thank you for I was going to say for being a stand for my children, but thanks. And now I want to just really get to introduce you to one of the most amazing people in the whole world in my life, my daughter, Kate.
My mom is so emotional. So thank you all so much for being here, and I'm so glad that I get to be here and talk to you a bit about my experience as a girl in Santa Barbara and as a girl at Girls Inc. So I think that being a little girl is not easy, and it was certainly a struggle for me. At school, I guess you could just say I was really lonely. I have really clear memories of dreading recess because it was 30 minutes where I didn't actually have anywhere to be. So I would just kind of wander around and do my best to just be invisible. I'm not sure why I had trouble making friends. It just felt like there was a book of rules, like instructions that everybody got and everybody memorized, but for whatever reason, I just never received it. So I was a lonely girl, but I also got into trouble, like a lot, all the time. I was always being sent out of class by my teachers, or I was being called out of class to go to the counselor's office. One time, I went into the girls' bathroom, and I walked into the stall to find, I hate Kate Faust, in just gigantic letters written across the stall. So yeah, being a little girl was just really hard for me. It wasn't easy at school, and it wasn't very easy at home either. But things were dramatically different after school, because after school, every day, Girls Inc. gave me a break. All the things that I guess marginalized me in the world made me a rock star at Girls Inc. So I was an overeager know-it-all. I was all the words that people call little girls who don't behave the way that they think they should behave. I had a really terrible haircut, which I don't know if you can see in any of these pictures. It was bad. And I had like a really ostentatious fashion sense. Like I was just like really out there. And at Girls Inc. I was just like welcome to be that. And I was encouraged to just keep it up, that I was doing a good job. And I really can't overemphasize the transformation that I underwent every day, marked by the exact moment that I stepped onto the van, out of school and into the Girls Inc. van. All morning, I was like awkward and ashy, and I was a little girl who didn't know her place and was constantly being chastised by teachers and by my classmates because I just never fell into line. But at 2 p.m, I was not that girl anymore. I was creative, and I was unique, and I was cast in lead roles in plays, and I competed in regional gymnastics tournaments. I was a mentor, and I was a poet. I was a marine biologist. I sang in a choir with Dionne Warwick. Now I'm just going to brag for a little while. My mom said I introduced Barbara Bush, but I also sat on Barbara Bush's lap. There's a photo. I was a Girls Inc. girl, and I'm so fortunate that I had that opportunity every day. And I had no idea at the time, and my mom spoke to this, and it breaks my heart because now I know how close I was to just missing out on that opportunity. How close I was to believing that I was, in fact, a know-it-all. I was so close to knowing my place and to falling back into line. If not for the scholarship that I received to attend Girls Inc., I know that school and classmates and the world around me might have misled me to believe that I should be quiet, I should be predictable, and I should be sweet. If not for my Girls Inc. scholarship, I'm not sure that I would have been strong enough to quit what was a pretty good job and move across the country to get my master's degree, which is what I did about a year ago. And I don't regret it yet. It's good. I think it was a good decision. And, you know, I'm not sure that I would be smart enough to know what I'm capable of and to push my boundaries and push the boundaries of those around me if they contradict what I think. And I'm very much in doubt that I would be bold enough to stand up here in front of 400 people I have not met before and tell them about finding I hate Kate Faust graffiti on the bathroom stall because that's humiliating, but I'm sharing with you. If it weren't for the scholarship to attend Girls Inc. every day, I would have let the world set my limits. But instead, I had a group of allies. I had Girls Inc. counselors and instructors who challenged me to exceed expectations until what people expected of me was just no longer relevant. It is a rare and difficult thing to be an ally to a little girl. Few people know what it takes to teach a girl to be her own best friend, to have her back as she learns to save herself. Girls Inc. has been this ally to countless little girls, including me and both of my sisters. So I ask you, on my family's behalf, on behalf of little girls who are starting to believe that they raise their hands too much and speak too often and too loudly, to be their ally and support Girls Inc. So there's a red envelope, I think, in front of everyone at your table. Does everyone have it? I have mine. Can you hold it up? So inside each of these envelopes is an invitation for you to stand in solidarity with Girls Inc. and become an ally to the girls in our community. I know without a doubt that the most impactful investment made in my life, second only to my mother's blood, sweat, and copious tears, was the one that made it possible for a Girls Inc. van to show up at my school day after day. So I implore you now to accept this invitation and invest in the strength of these girls that are here today. Oh, they're over there. Hey. You know, invest in their strength, invest in their intellect and their courage. Make it possible for a Girls Inc. van to show up to their school and bring them into another world, a world where every girl gets to be exactly who she wants to be, strong, smart, and bold. So now I get to introduce 4 incredible Girls Inc. girls who I got to meet today. They're so funny and so cool and so smart. So Lily French, Michaela French, Sophia Molina, and Roz Bora, right? Did I say that? Roz. Yeah, they're all gonna come up.
Hello, my name is Lily French. I have been going to Girls Inc. since the summer before I started kindergarten. When I saw that 1 out of 4 girls don't finish high school, I was shocked. In my family, we already talk about which high school I will go to, even though I'm only in 6th grade. I think some girls don't finish high school because their parents might not have finished and they follow in the parents' footsteps, or maybe school is hard for them and they aren't getting the help they need. Maybe kids are making fun of them. For these girls, school is not a nice place to be. Last year, I was having a tough time in math. If I didn't know the answer to a problem, I would just make a guess. Because I go to Girls Inc., I had a way of getting extra help. My mom asked if I could get a tutor during homework time. The tutor Girls Inc. gave me wouldn't let me make guesses. He showed me how to do the problems. Now I don't guess at answers to problems anymore. I solve them. I think every girl should graduate from high school, not just 3 out of 4. Everybody should have a chance to be educated so they can get a job when they get older and support themselves. I believe that we can do our part to help the kids who need it. One thing I would do is go to the public library and help kids who are having trouble in school. I guess you could say I would be their tutor, just like the one I had. I believe we can encourage girls to never give up, even if it is hard to learn. As Malala, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, once said, "One child, one teacher, one book, one pen can change the world." Thank you. Hello, my name is Michaela French. I have been at Girls Inc. since I was 5 years old. One thing I like about going to Girls Inc. is that you are just with girls. Sometimes boys only see part of what is you. For example, they might only see you as a ballerina. At Girls Inc., we are treated with respect for what makes us different, so that we can let all the different parts of us show. At school, sometimes boys tell us, "Oh no, we're playing a boys' game of ball right now." They can get aggressive and tackle each other, even though they are not supposed to. At Girls Inc., I can be an athlete. If I want to play sports, I can. And no one is going to tell me I can't play because I'm a girl. At Girls Inc., I can be a scientist, where I can blow things up and do cool things, like swab for bacteria and mold. Sometimes boys say things about girls that offend us. We have to stand up and debate things like equal rights for women. At Girls Inc., we are all girls, and we don't have to worry about those kinds of comments. At school, people think I'm a nerd because I go to the library at recess. At Girls Inc., lots of girls go to the library. It's a warm, quiet place to hang out. If that is being a nerd, then I am proud to be one. When I grow up, I hope I can show the world that I am not supposed to be anything but myself, and that there are many, many parts to me. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sophia Molina, and I'm happy to tell you what Girls Inc. means to me. This is my 6th year at Girls Inc. Now that I'm in 5th grade, I have a lot of homework to do, and Girls Inc. gives me the opportunity to do my homework before I get home. I am one of the older girls, and I get to do things that involve more responsibility, like being a role model for the younger girls. I took my first cooking class at Girls Inc. in kindergarten, and since then, I've taken lots more. Now that's all I think about. I watch professional chefs on TV, and I cook for my family. I have also taken gardening classes at Girls Inc., and they have taught me why it's better to cook with food you grow, so you know how fresh it is, and you don't have to worry about all that shipping. Am I right? This quarter, I'm in Restaurant Club. We will prepare dinner for the kids and their families, probably 350 people. That's a lot. I am one of the sous chefs. To get that job, I had to apply for it and have a job interview. Because I have so much experience in the kitchen, I even got to choose the logo for our restaurant. In the past, most chefs have been men. Women were not encouraged to become chefs. Women like Julia Child had to fight to take professional cooking classes instead of what they called housewife cooking classes, where they learned to boil an egg and make toast. Boring. Nowadays, women like Rachel Ray and Kat Cora can become professional chefs just for making good food. When I grew up, I want to have my own restaurant where I can make up my own recipes and prepare delicious and creative food. If that happens, I hope to see all of you as customers in my restaurant. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Roz Bora. Today, I have the opportunity to share my views about the stereotypical image of girls in our world, as I see it as an 11-year-old. It didn't exactly shock me to learn that 78% of girls under 17 are unhappy with their appearance. Girls have many unrealistic expectations imposed on them. All girls, apparently, should be skinny, wear pink, love sparkles, have pretty hair, and wear makeup. According to society's rules, girls should be Barbies. I believe that girls shouldn't be squished into teeny plastic dolls without voices or rights. Then we're just something to be patronized, not taken seriously. Because I have short hair and I don't wear girly clothes, I am often mistaken for a boy. This is really annoying. I tried to grow my hair out this summer, but I looked in the mirror and I thought, this is just not me. And so now I don't really care if people think I'm a boy. When I'm at Girls Inc., I can be myself. I don't feel like I have to worry about my hair or my clothes. At Girls Inc., I've developed confidence in myself from trying new things, like studying drama. The first year, I was really scared on stage, and I got a small part. Then I got a bigger role when I learned how to memorize lines and project my voice. I hope that someday we will read a statistic that all girls feel free to look how they want. And I hope not all of them look like Barbies. I think the world would be a better place if women and girls could be accepted for who they are, and if gender stereotypes did not exist. Thank you.
Wasn't that incredible? Now I'm going to introduce you the woman that was responsible for coaching these young girls. I first met Lois Phillips several years ago at a women lawyers seminar. Each attendee got her book, Women Seen and Heard. After reading the words that Lois wrote, I knew I wanted to know this remarkable lady, and I did, and we became friends. When I first started to put this event together and we came up with ideas, I knew I wanted Lois to be our guest speaker. Her impressive bio is in our program, and she is the real deal. She worked with these young girls over the planning of this event for the last several months, along with Phyllis Americana. Everybody said, can young girls really capture the attention of the audience? Well, as a speaker, Lois enjoys collaborating with other people. She believes that the next generation needs to be heard, And these young girls today and their speeches prove that Lois knows what's going on. I know from hearing Lois speak that she would be the perfect guest speaker for today. It's great pleasure that I introduce Lois for the role model she is to young women today. Please give a warm welcome to Lois. Come on up, Lois.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. That was so gracious of you. And thanks to the event committee for this honor. Thank you, Shannon Kelly, Christina Webster, and Phyllis Americaner for your assistance with the girls' presentation and developing, and it was so much fun. You can imagine just working with them. And to Lily, Michaela, Sophia, and Roz, you tackled this assignment with relish and courage. You are truly strong, smart, and bold, and are a hard act to follow. I think we could say, Monica would agree, I over-succeeded. So I'm gonna talk in broad generalities about gender here, in particular about public speaking. And I'd like to explain why it's important for girls and women to not only lean in, we've heard that expression, but to speak up and weigh in regarding the issues that will shape the future. I'll address the fact that there are unique challenges facing women speakers that make public speaking a more difficult role. And in spite of advances, and we have such an amazing community with so many elected women, we have tremendous successful partnerships between women and men and progressive men here today. In spite of that at the local level, I want to talk about the fact that we're still used to seeing men in top executive leadership roles and hearing a man's voice as the voice of authority. I know that if you're sitting here, what I'm describing may not be your exact experience, but let the research speak for itself. When I was growing up, I had learned that, quote, children were supposed to be seen and not heard. You've heard that, right? Did you know this was written in the 15th century by an Augustinian clergyman? And child actually appears as maid, M-A-Y-D-E. So no surprise, it was young women who were expected to keep quiet. Things have definitely changed for the better. We saw that today. At puberty, though, we start to see developmental changes in girls today in spite of all the advances. And as an educator, this really hits home for me, and I know it will to parents in the room. This is the moment when girls at this age start to censor themselves and become increasingly silent in class, denying their intelligence. One study found that of the 31% of girls in an elementary school who said they were good at math, by middle school, that same group, really the numbers dropped to 18%, which was a shocking drop. And the drop occurs, sadly, in the brightest girls. We can't let this happen as parents and as citizens. We need to hear from girls. We need to engender confidence in girls. And we saw how much we appreciated hearing from these girls today who have strong opinions and feelings about how things ought to be. I remember personally being very embarrassed by something my mother wrote in my 6th grade graduation yearbook. Be good, sweet maid, and let who will be clever, quoting poet Charles Kingsley. I was so embarrassed by this erudite remark that I made an accordion fold of that page and tucked it very tightly into the binding so that no one else would see it. But years later, in fact, when I moved to Santa Barbara and unpacked boxes, I found that little autograph book again, and I saw new meaning in my mom's quote. Of course, by then, I was a mother myself. To my mother's generation, it was very important for women to be good and to be sweet. My friends and I felt very differently about being young women. Catapulted into the various rights movements and dynamism of the 60s and the 70s, we rejected our mother's point of view, our mother's lifestyle. We wanted to be clever. We wanted to be quoted. We wanted to make history, and in particular, we wanted to expand the role of women beyond conventional thinking. We wanted to be seen and heard at the podium, proclaiming bold new ideas. Later, I went back to school at UCSB to do doctoral research, and I focused on this whole notion of public speaking and why some people do speak up, assert their bold ideas in public, and why other people hold back, developing an experimental course to overcome public speaking anxiety, fear of public speaking. You've heard of it. Maybe many of you have struggled with it. It's common to everyone. Sociologist Barbara Ehrenreich renames it public freaking. And journalist Sheila Murphy wrote that most people would rather be in the casket than standing beside it, reciting the eulogy. People go to great lengths to avoid opportunities to speak. And I've seen, in my consulting practice, very capable and charismatic people delegate the briefing opportunity to a less qualified person because they were simply too nervous. That was a mistake. Public speaking or presentation skills are a function of the leadership role. There's no getting around it. You cannot lead a PTA meeting, chair a board meeting, or pitch a new product to an investor unless you can speak effectively. And the good thing is that if you overcome that fear, any reticence you might have, those same skills translate into conversational skills as well. Thanks to a tenacious women's movement, women have advanced mightily since I was 10 years old. But there are inequities that remain that our girls will face. And one source is the continuation of these archaic attitudes about biology being destiny, what men and women innately are, and where they should be seen and heard as a result. And I just want to take a backward glance here and share with you the fact that these stereotypes about boys and girls and men and women have a very deep and long intellectual history, starting with Cicero, Sophocles, and Plato, with their belief about men's innate intellectual superiority and capacity to be more rational, more logical than women, and women's innate capacity to be more emotional all the time, under all conditions. Now, today we have a very emotional event. It's very personal. But think about the executive suite, the boardroom, policy-making bodies. It can be very dangerous to become overly emotional and out of control. Research from Harvard and Stanford's business schools and the JFK School of Public Policy regularly confirm that these stereotypes still provide the basis for practices that keep women back. It's just shocking. But the statistics are even more surprising, and I bet you don't know that the U.S. ranks number 69 among countries with the highest percentage of women in government, with a higher percentage of women now running Afghanistan and Uganda. In business, only about 5% of Fortune 500 CEOs or Fortune 100 CEOs are women. Only 23% of college presidents are women. Women are only 18.5% of Congress. When it's time to call in the experts, men prefer to listen to men speak. And if it's not bad enough that men share all but one of the House of Representatives' 20 committees, the Sunlight Foundation confirmed that of 5,000 witnesses testifying before the 113th Congress, only 23% of them were women. 23% of over 5,000 expert witnesses. In broadcast news, think about the media and all the changes we're seeing, the changing roles of women. The number of women interviewed, even on NPR, is so low. Of the 12 outside commentators over 15 months, Cokie Roberts was the only female, and she spoke 51 times. I'm not talking about anchors or reporters, I'm talking about experts. So the voice of authority remains a male voice. On TV, we're used to seeing women as anchors, but there's a downside. According to a 2011 study from Indiana University, the sexual attractiveness of female news anchors distracts men from remembering the news content. Damned if you do, and damned if you don't. Remember the first time you were surprised to see a woman enter the cockpit and realize she was the pilot? These days, icebergs are melting faster than attitudes. The double standard remains a problem, and I'm framing this in terms of public communication. It remains a problem when women speak up to express an opinion, even if they're CEOs. Listen to what happened at Yale last year in a study in which women posed as female CEOs to a group of MBAs and men posed as CEOs. They had the same spiel. The women were judged very harshly for voicing opinions too ardently, too strongly, but the men posing as CEOs with exactly the same content were perceived as poor leaders if they didn't express any kind of an opinion. So I want to say, just imagine yourself for a minute at the podium. Think about this. You need to prepare yourself. If you're a woman, if you're not 6'2" with gray sideburns, most women aren't, you need to prepare yourself for at least a certain degree of skepticism about the audience is skeptical about your capacity to be seen as an expert, to be heard from in a top leadership role, and your ability to lead the change that you're proposing. They're wondering to themselves, for example, can she make tough decisions? Can she broker power? Is she a player? Can she engage those old boy networks? Will she be a people pleaser? These are just a few of the kinds of things that the listeners are wondering. And when the speaker is male, concerns about his capacity for leadership wouldn't be an issue, nor would it distract people from listening to what he had to say. But it is on the audience's mind, or it might be. So I say forewarned is forearmed. And before you stand up to pitch a bold new idea, make sure that your expertise is conveyed to the audience, and they're very clear about the fact that you have the right to be standing up there proposing a very bold position, a policy position, something they never might have considered. In our democracy, we have the right to free speech, which we can take for granted. But for a girl in Pakistan, speaking up can be life-threatening. This is one of the 7 most sexist countries in the world, by the way, according to a UN study. And when Pakistani schoolgirl Malala Yousafzai spoke boldly, when she was only 11 years old, at the press club in Peshawar, she asked, "How dare the Taliban take away my basic right to an education?" 4 years later, as she was developing a tremendous following in the country, she was seen as such a threat that she was shot in the face while riding a school bus home. Miraculously, she survived and has been immortalized as the youngest person to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. You can see that she's a tremendous role model for the girls that we heard from today. Other role models do exist, and I just want to mention 3 quickly. Severin Suzuki is an example of someone who, at the age of 12, spoke to the United Nations about the degradation of the environment, asking the United Nations as a body what kind of a world they were leaving to her generation. The speech was so powerful that it deeply affected and silenced some of the most prominent world listeners. She began her organization at the age of 9, by the way, and she calls it ECHO, E-C-O. Young actress Emma Watson might be more familiar to you. She was in the Harry Potter series. She just spoke to the United Nations also about gender inequality in the UN's He and She series. 12-year-old Madison Kimry spoke at the We Are Women rally about women's voting rights in North Carolina. What a force of nature she is. And all of these young women can be found on YouTube. So I want to have you leave today thinking about something that's bugging you, something that's on your mind, some big idea that you have that really needs an audience. You don't need a professional degree to advocate for a stop sign at the corner of a dangerous intersection. What's your big idea? If you don't pitch it in public, who will? I say, feel the fear and do it anyway. So in closing, I want to say that society will benefit, we all know this, when twice as many people apply their brain power to attacking today's very complex dilemmas. There are public hearings to discuss local issues and debate options, and we're so privileged to have so many political leaders, business, and government leaders here today. They know what they're dealing with. But how many of you will weigh in? How many of you will show up when those debates are happening? When more women feel empowered at the podium, their collective voices will build, creating a sonic boom. And sonic booms can shatter glass ceilings. Knowing that, let your voice be heard. Thank you.
All right. We're not all hating the men in here. The men are progressive, right? That's what you said. We're forward thinking. I promise I have no authority whatsoever. Chad, you're the only other guy who spoke up here today, so you and I are together, buddy. Do not leave here without that red envelope. If it's $1, if it's $10,000, if we can get 100% participation, that would be amazing, and it would make all of these people here, all the staff here, be able to continue to do the things that they're doing with these girls here. It is important. Do not stand by. Do not be a spectator. Get in the game, participate, and help Girls Inc. Thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next year.